Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I'm going to take you with us on a day in the life. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love if you stick around. So today is Friday. I need to update yesterday to put down everything that we did. You can see the desk is an absolute disaster because she was doing a KiwiCo, and then we have this project we need to finish, and then we've got our read aloud here. It's a hot mess, and that's okay. I'm going to pick this up at some point today so that it doesn't look like this all weekend. You can see I have very little plan for today, and so we're just going to wing it and see what we come up with. We're going to do something in reading, we're going to do something in math, and that's all I can promise. So here she is having some breakfast and listening to books. And so what this is it is actually free for educators, and that includes homeschool families. And it is animated books. And so it reads the words, it highlights them as she watches it, and it's just kind of a fun way to get in a little bit of read aloud, but have some pictures. Okay, so we've cleared off the desk so that we can actually do something right now. And I have went through and I've graded all of her independent work from Thursday. Thursday was a car school day, so I just went through, I graded everything, and I wrote down some of the things that we did. That wasn't like paper work so much. And then she did one of these super sentences, and we had these from second grade, and they've just been really, really good for throwing in a binder and using. And there's just different ones. I can't remember. Oh, it says right here, Patricia Pat Resources. And so there's just different ones that we've done all throughout this time, and it's just really, really nice for just some independent work that she can do really easily. Right now, she's over there working on her Evan Moore geography. It is a 5-day lesson, but as you probably know by now, we modify things to fit our schedule. And the same thing with this, let's see here. These right here, the word a day. We're off slightly from doing one every day, so I'm just continuing to go. So maybe on Friday, we're actually going to be doing Considerate, which would be day 2, but that's okay. We just kind of work through it, and I do these on whatever day I open the book. We had started the writing and rhetoric last week, which was this, and it recommends doing writing every other week. So what I have done is I have brought in our grammar and punctuation. Again, we're just doing this as we go. If we're on day 3, whatever, we do the page as we go, and I'm kind of smashing all of this into 1 week most of the time. So she will finish up the very last page for this. So for this week, we covered the subject and predicate. And so we talked about this, and then she would do one of these pages on whatever day. And then following this, I went ahead and I started the daily 6-trait writing with Evan Moore. This is writing, but it's just a little bit different. And so right here, she does a page every day, and it's just a different way of practicing writing. And so I don't feel like it's as much writing as our writing and rhetoric, and so we're kind of doing both of those. So we are going to do all of 3 of these in a moment. And I don't know if you saw, I honestly can't remember if I put this little thing on Instagram, or maybe I showed you guys, but I got a Lazy Susan for that yesterday, and I'm gonna go grab that really quick. Alright, so I snagged this little official word turntable. I don't know why it's called a Lazy Susan sometimes, but that's what I've always called it. If you know why, put it down in the description. Otherwise, here's the official name, turntable. This is a 15-inch one. So I picked this up at Target. I was just going to get a whole office caddy system, but she really liked this, and it fits really well with extra room on the outside. So if we wanted to put like some glue bottles, or maybe even the box of crayons that's in there to create a little bit more room in here, that will work. But I really, really like that, and I think it'll be handy at kind of turning around. So we repurposed and we reused this, and then we went ahead and purchased this. I figure if it doesn't work super great, I can probably use this somewhere throughout the house. So let's see how it fits over here. Perfect. Okay, great. And so I can definitely move any of those things around that we need. And then I don't know what is up with this desk, but it just like fell apart this week. Not literally, we just had a hot mess on this desk. So she is over there finishing up the last of her geography, and then what I will do is I will set my timer and we will do as much of these as we can, and she's going to show you. There, she has colored the oceans and the continents. Again, that really fun song that we learned on YouTube about the continents, locked that in. You want to sing that for us?
Sure. Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica and Europe, finally Australia.
Yes, and so she's got all 7 continents down, and the great thing is she knows them in size order. So she knows that Asia is the largest and Australia is the smallest, just due to that song. So thank you, YouTube. All right, we're gonna set a timer, get started with this, and check back in with you when we know what we're doing next. All right, so we did all of the Evan Moore, and we had time on our timer, so we went ahead and did 1 mind benders. And I gotta tell you, level 3 it's a little bit more intense. It is definitely making her think. We really like these. They're really fun. So now we are going to do our little test section of the week for Earth Science. Last year I didn't really do these, but I kind of like these. It's just 4 quick questions to make sure that she remembers the important part of it. So I'm going to have her do that really quick, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit. Okay, so we are huge fans of All About Reading, but this year we are really taking our time with that and not doing it as often. And so this week we actually didn't do All About Reading at all. And so what I did is I assigned her pages out of this book right here. It is a series from the Legends of King Arthur. This was book 2. She just finished book 2 up, and then she ran and grabbed book 3. So she is about to begin, down here, babe. Okay, there you go. She is about to begin book 3, which is The Sword and the Stone. So again, if you haven't seen us talk about these, here is the whole series. It was in a book outlet haul that I purchased. I will try to remember to put that right down here. But yes, really fun, and she's really enjoying this series. So here we go with The Sword and the Stone. So she's going to read for a few more minutes while I finish up lunch, and there's Puppy about to snuggle up with some reading time also. All right, we just finished up lunch. I got the kitchen all cleaned up because you know how the kitchen gets. And so usually on Friday, this is where I would take my opportunity to start adding things in for the next week. But I haven't done anything yet because next week is actually week 7. And this year I was going to attempt 6 weeks on, 1 week off. And so this would be week 7 of that schedule. We're actually going to be starting week 9. So I haven't decided. You can see I put my little sticky note here, like week off this week, question mark. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to carry it forward. I don't know if I'm going to, maybe I had thought about just doing like super limited math reading. I don't know. I just do not know what I'm going to do. I think sometimes they call it the Sabbath schedule, but it's 6 on, 1 off. If you do that schedule, what do you do on that off week? Do you just all together take it off, or do you sprinkle in some stuff? I mean, I know with homeschool, there's always this we're learning sort of thing, and she has so many activities that go throughout the week that she is always still doing something, even if we were to take the whole week off. So, I don't know. Usually, like I said, Friday is when I'm rolling things over for sure. And even through the week, I would be thinking about what I wanted to do. So, I don't know. Either way, I am going to go ahead and jot down that I will be start... actually, not start. We are going to resume... writing and rhetoric. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down because, as I mentioned earlier, we are switching that with grammar. So we will not do that Evan Moore grammar or the Evan Moore writing next week because, or whatever week we do next, because we will be doing the writing and rhetoric. So I don't know. Haven't decided. But again, I just throw this in here just so I remember to do it. So she is just finishing up a few things really quick, and then we're going to get started with dimensions, and then we are going to do our spelling. So I may bring you along a little bit for this dimensions, so stick around if you want to see us do any of that. All right, we are going to get started on dimensions. Today the lesson is sum and difference. So you probably remember us using kind of a bar graph last year, right? Where this would represent something and then this would represent something, correct? Yes. Yeah. These were not her favorite things, but we're not going to go too crazy into the bar graph. Like, it's going to be a little bit different today. So if the red represents 100 and the green represents 100 because they're the same size, what would this represent altogether?
So they both represent 100?
Mm-hmm.
200?
Correct. So these are both the same size, as you can see. So they would be 100 and 100. The sum would be 200 because that would be the total, right? Okay. Now what if I folded this paper in half? And now I said, this represents 100, this represents 50. What would my sum be?
150.
Correct, 150. So now we're going to look at your little think section here. Okay, all right, so let's look right up here at the top. It says, cut paper strips to represent 231 and 563. Instead of cutting, we'll just fold one piece. So I want you to have one piece that represents 563, and then I want you to have one piece that represents the 231. How could you do that with these paper pieces?
Just like this.
Okay. Which one is representing what?
This one's 231, and this one's 563.
Very good. Now, why is this one bigger?
Because it's a bigger number.
All right. So now they want us to find the sum of 231 and 563. Do you remember what the sum means? What does that mean?
The sum is the answer.
Okay, and how do we find the sum? Like, what are we doing to find the sum?
Plussing.
Correct, we are using addition. So, we can say, all right, we have 231 plus 563. So now I want to know what all the blocks equal. How would we find that out?
Okay, so 3 plus 1 equals 4.
Okay.
6 plus 3 equals 9.
Okay.
5 plus 2 equals 7.
Okay. So your sum is what?
794.
All right. Now, what if I say, what is the difference between 231 and 563? If I was saying what is the difference what are we going to do there?
We're going to take away.
Okay, so we're going to use subtraction.
Yep.
So we use addition to find the sum, and we use subtraction to find the difference, right?
Yep.
All right. What do we have here? Ooh, we've got some Lincoln blocks, right? Or Lincoln cubes. So it looks like we have 9 greens, and it looks like we have 5 yellows. Now, there's not a whole lot different between a bar graph and when we use our blocks, right?
No.
We are wanting to find the sum of 9 and 5. So the sum of 9 and 5 is pretty much saying 9 plus 5 equals 14. All right? Now, what if I said, what is the difference between 9 and 5?
4.
Exactly, 4. And it's super easy to see when we have individual blocks, right?
Because you can just see 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, let's go to number 2. Find the sum of 75 and 47. So if you wanted to represent that on a block like this, you could do something kind of like that, right? Or maybe have it a little bit wider there. So what number would this represent?
75.
Okay, and what number would the green represent?
47.
Okay, and if I said I need to find the sum, what are you doing?
Plussing.
Correct, you're using addition. So you're going to add part 1 to part 2, and you're going to get the total. What is 75 plus 47?
Okay, so 5 plus 7.
Okay, pause. You're about to try to do one method. What if we use the other method where what is 47 almost?
Mom.
Let's try it.
Fine.
Okay, let's try that method. So 47 is almost what?
50.
Okay, what do we do now?
You plus 50 to 75.
Okay, 50 plus 75.
125.
Okay, and now what did you do to that 47?
I plus 2, so we have to take 2 away, so it's 102.
You didn't plus 2 to get to 50. You were at 47 and you rounded to 50, so how many did you move? 40.
3.
There you go. So you moved 3. 47 to 50, because 48, 49, 50, right? You jumped up 3. So that means because you jumped up 3, you're going to have to subtract 3, right? Okay,
Yes.
so you had 125, and now you subtract the 3.
That equals 122.
Very good. So that is something that we've been practicing, is this other method of where a number is almost another number. She usually does it really smoothly with addition, and she balks at doing it with subtraction, but that's okay. We all make mistakes, so we just had a little oopsie on rounding that, but usually it goes much quicker whenever you round. You would be like, okay, 47 is almost 50. So 75 plus 50 is 125, minus the 3 is 122. And it's just a way for them to do math quicker, and that's just one of the methods of Singapore math. Now, a huge difference of something that we are doing with Dimensions Math this year is that we are not utilizing the workbook section. We are occasionally using the test, but we have done this page together. So now I'm going to have her do this next page by herself. Sometimes there is a lot more, sometimes there is not very much. So let me show you. Here is her book. So I'm going to put this in this clear sheet like this, and then she uses a little marker, All right, it doesn't fit fantastically in there, but it does fit good enough. I'm thinking about having this binded. I'm not sure, but I'm going to have her do this first page, and then I will grade it, because with it being dry erase, if it gets messed up, then we won't see the answer. So I'm going to give her that, and this is her independent work. Now, if I felt she wasn't grasping it yet, we would keep working on a few of these together. But otherwise, this is how we are doing it. I had mentioned at one point where I have the workbook, answers, and pages back here. This is exercise 8, so you can see all of the things that if she needed more work on it, I could put these on the whiteboard or type them up on the computer. Sometimes I will pull out one of the challenge sections, which I don't see. Okay, here, number 11. Here is a challenge for exercise 11. So most of the time there is a challenge, and sometimes I will give her that just as a little extra challenge, as it says. So she is going to go ahead and finish up this front page. I'll grade that, and then she will have one more. And if anything comes up, I will go over that too. But really, this will be the end of our math for the day. She gets this little bit of independent work. We kind of do some together. If I feel like she's got it, we go ahead and do some independent. If I feel like she needs some more practice, we'll work on it some more. And there have been times where we did work on the entire thing together. And so I would utilize putting one of these on the computer or on the whiteboard for her to have some independent work. It's working beautifully, really, really well. So we will catch up with you in just a few minutes while she works on this. All right, so she is finished up. I kind of watch and grade as she goes, sort of. So then all we do is erase this, and that is all done. So she did both pages there. So I feel like this is a sufficient amount of work. If we're not getting it at this point, then what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up the next day. It doesn't mean that we need to keep doing more if we have it. So we are all done with math, and now we are going to finish up with our spelling for the day, and then I think we're going to call it a day. All right, so we are going to finish up here with our, essentially I just call it a spelling test. This is actually a 5-day curriculum. However, I don't use it as that. We have day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4 I pretty much consider as a test. So go ahead and go to page 95.
Okay.
We are doing compound words today, and I'll go ahead and just kind of let you follow along on this one also. This curriculum, which is by Memoria Press, gives me everything that I need to say, which is really lovely. We can see right here, I'm using day 4. Sometimes I have my final test here, and I might pull out one of the sentences from over here if I like it better than the one I do up there. All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, close your workbook up there. All right, I will say a sound, and you will write the letter or letter team that spells that sound. Okay? Cr, as in across. Cr. What makes the sound cr in across? Cr, cr. This is another one where I generally just kind of grade as we go. All right, number 2. Th, th, as in bathtub. Th. All right, excellent. Let's go to number 1, okay?
Okay.
I will give you a spelling word, and you will write the word. I will say the word by itself and in a sentence. Only write the spelling word. Okay? Football. Toss the football to your teammate. Football.
Okay.
Cupcake. Number 10. Across. The airplane flew across the mountains. Across.
Okay.
All right, sometimes if she makes any errors in the first 10, I will go ahead and like recall those again if she needs to before going to the sentence. Other times I just have her do all of them and then I will give her the sentence. So now we're going to go ahead and close out with a sentence. I have two options, or I can of course make my own, and then I'm going to have her just do this one down here. Ring the doorbell again. Ring the doorbell again.
Ring the doorbell again.
Correct. All right, so now she will just write this final sentence right here. She writes the whole sentence on the bottom. And so this is what her page should look like when it is all said and done. And that is how this book works for the entire thing. It gives me a preview of what her page should look like, as well as any teaching activities that I may need. All right, so we are calling it a day today. So what I will do is I will come and I will mark my little day on my calendar, which I didn't mark down yesterday either. Oh, it looks like I didn't mark down quite a few days. So 28, 29, and 30. I need to write all of those. And what I do is I put this down so that I know exactly how many days of school that we have done, and then I total them up at the end. So this is the last day of the month, right? Indeed it is. So tomorrow is October 1st. So what I will do is I will just count up all the days that we did for September. We did 18 days of school this month, and then I have just been highlighting this simply to see it easier and just kind of see my groups a little bit better. So that's very good. That's a really good number for the first full solid month of school. So I hope you have enjoyed following us along today. It was a little bit different, as all of our homeschool weeks are, but I did want to share a little day in the life with you because we haven't done that in a while. And I hope you enjoyed our little do a lesson with us. So we'll see you in our next one. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.